Let's come back to my guest. My guest is the State Director for the Center for Human Rights and Accountability Network, CRAN, and he's been doing a very good job in analyzing these issues. Let's talk about the issue of corruption. Utwekong, let me come to you. The issue of corruption. Corruption has been identified as a major obstacle in the clog of progress of any state, any country, anywhere, any circle. If the issue of corruption is not, either mitigated or fought to a standstill, that place will not make any, progress of some sort. Now, how has corruption impeded our growth as a country? Because President Muhammadu Buhari's administration made a promise, was very categorical on the fight against corruption. And our president now, President Bola Tinubu, is also categorical. He's intolerant of the issue of corruption. He has already hit the ground running. He has already, identified places where you have problems, like the CBN. You have the CBN, the Eswal governor, call it off. And then you have the issue of EFCC, which is also another strong institution for fighting corruption. Now, how has corruption been, preventing economic growth, and what can the president do to at least achieve that growth economically in the interest of the people?
Well, I risk saying that President Buhari was overhyped when he was campaigning with the change agenda. If he wasn't overhyped by Nigerians, including myself,
I was just going to point the finger. I was just going to point the finger. I was just going to point the finger. But you were quick enough.
So let me add it, because you will say, what about you who was campaigning for him? Yes, I did, because I had thought that the person I knew, 1984, is the person that we are talking about. But I was disappointed, and of course I have told Nigerians I'm sorry for coming out to speak, to say this man should be given opportunity, that the change he's talking about he would actually deliver. But I was overtaken, or do I say, like I said, he was overhyped, for me not to ask him the kind of change he was bringing to the table. Because what we now saw, before we now knew, we couldn't ask again. He was already president, and of course, he has to run the full course of the tenure, and that has taken us 50 years backward now.
According to you again?
Yes, if you want to say so, because the facts are there. Now, back to the question that you've asked me, I will be offering free advice. Ordinarily, I will be asked to be paid by President Bola Tinubu to offer this advice on air. But I know that because I am a patriotic Nigerian and I believe in good governance, and I want the government to succeed, and I want Nigerians to benefit from democracy that we fought for. One, President Bola Tinubu should appoint credible and men of integrity in his cabinet. That is the starting point.
To fighting corruption.
First, his ministers should be those who are above board. First step towards fighting corruption in Nigeria must start from the cabinet of Mr. President. Those he's appointing as ministers, his advisors, who are going to run the government in various ministries and agencies, must be above board. Thank God that he has dissolved all the non-statutory boards and agencies now. So he's going to start afresh, on a fresh note. Let him personally interview those that are coming to work for Nigerians.
But that will not be easy.
That is the point. That is the starting point. Let him be able to screen, not that somebody will just say somewhere and give you name. You don't know who the person is. You recall that in the past government of President Buhari, we even saw dead names in the list of those that will be appointed into boards. Some people who are dead, who have died 20 years ago, their names still appear on the list. So he should be able to interface with those who will work with him. He is the one that is going to hire them, right? You don't employ anyone you don't know, you've not seen. You're not able to communicate to him the renewed agenda that you have. So you should take the pains. Come, let me interview you, and I'll give you the job if you are qualified. So that as they are appearing before him, he is assessing them, apart from what they will tell him by their words of mouth. He can also assess them as they depart. This man is fit, this man is not fit. And also, he should seek to get the security report from the DSS because all these people must be screened by DSS. You shouldn't just wave them aside. I can tell you that the DSS is doing a very good job in this country. Nobody that is appointed a minister or whatever that has not been screened by the DSS, that they don't have a report about the person. So he should also work with the security agencies like the DSS to get intelligence of all those he will appoint. And if I love Ike and I wish that Ike should work for me, and I invite you to come for the interview, and after interviewing you, you leave, I call DSS to get your report, and the report doesn't favor you, you lost the job. Simply put, because of what use will you be contributing to Nigeria when you already have a bad security report? So that is the point. You have someone who is convicted, for instance, in a country somewhere, and he calls you to become a godfather, and then calls you a president and says, this man should be working for you. How do you relate? So that is why I'm saying the president should take the pains. 1 month screening, those you want to appoint as ministers should come and meet you. You call them in 5, in 10. They come, you interview them, they go. You rest. The next day you call, the next day they come. But so the way you're able to know who they are. You have their track record, their antecedents, and be able to know who you are going to work with. Because at the end of the day, the buck stops on the table of Mr. President. If he fails, then that is it. So that is one. Number 2.
I'm afraid we might just do 2. So
drop
the 2.
Number 2, the president should allow the rule of law to reign supreme in Nigeria. If the court make pronouncement, obey it. Do not go against the judgment or the orders of court. And the president should ensure that all those detained without the orders of court should be released because they are seen as political detainees. The Ibrahim Tazuki, Nnamdi Kanu, and the rest whose court have given judgment and said they should be released should all be released. This is the way to start, to obey the court orders and rule of law. When this is done, the entire world will have a different view that this government is coming to restore what has been destroyed in the country, and then the issue of renewed hope or the renewed hope that he is bringing on board can now be what we can now say he's truly bringing a renewed hope to Nigerians. And key of it all, he should appoint Minister of Petroleum. That office
and not be the Minister of Petroleum by himself.
And we don't want to see a Minister of
right.
State. And when he's sending list of ministers to the Senate, he should attach their portfolio to those offices.
All right.
So that the Senate will be screening person based on what you are going to be assigned to.
Otuekon Franklin Isong, I must thank you at this juncture because, of course, these things you just mentioned are very necessary ingredients for economic development. And that's, of course, what we've majored on our conversation today. I must thank you so much for your analysis. Otuekon Franklin Isong is the State Director for the Center for Human Rights and Accountability Network, CRAN, and he has given his analysis on how we can record economic development, what the government needs to do and needs to do quickly. Well, that's the much we can take for the program for today. Thanks for being a part of it, Mr. President, and advice has been given to you. I hope that you take it and work with it. It's for free, though. No consultancy payment needed in this direction. Of course, he had said he would ask for payment, but don't worry, you may be considered somewhere along the line. My name is Ikechi Kujuwa. Thanks for being a part of the program. It was awesome doing this. Let's do it again tomorrow. Until then, I always leave for now with a prayer. God bless Nigeria, and to you and to every other person, I salute.